way more cost effective than, ripping up a road for a road construction project and then realizing, oh, we could have done stormwater work and now you gotta rip the road up again, right? And they lead to successful watershed restoration if you're holistic about your planning. And that leads to delisting, which means you're not under that thumb anymore because you're no longer on a 303 list. That's the ultimate goal. Question? Sorry, I feel like I was like, blah, 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 blah.
What's a reach shed? Like in this section, what's a reach shed? How long the river?
So I would say go to that DNR plan, and so watersheds are divided what they call HUCs, hydraulic unit something. The bigger the number, so HUC 8 is really big, HUC 10 smaller, HUC 12 smaller. It could, and they vary in, the reach ends vary in length.
Okay.
And they're not all connected, so there can be kind of a river or a stream that part of it's impaired and part of it's not, and then part of it up here is. So it might be there's, a lot of manure spreading, so there's an E. coli issue up here, and then for whatever reason it's kind of okay in the middle, and then for down here you have urban runoff. So it just varies, yeah. Yes?
Okay, I'm still unclear. We have this problem with suspended solids and phosphorus and bacteria, and we need to do things to get less of it into the, what kind of things can we do to reduce that? And we had a road project discussion where we talked about some land use, bioswales.
Right.
But we were told that those were like
minimal.
Yeah, like not even like a very small percentage of what we need to reduce. So I mean, what are things that we can do?
So that is the advice that you're going to get from your engineering consulting firm that does your stormwater management plan. So I didn't really spend a lot of time on that best management practices slide. BMP's best management practices are like it might be a stormwater pond. So somebody has modeled the effectiveness of that pond based on where it is and the size and how the runoff gets there. And they kind of can tell how much phosphorus will come out of the system if you put a pond here or do this thing there. That's what these engineering consulting firms specialize in. There are also lists, like Wisconsin-wide or national lists of best management practices. So if you want to learn more about those specific things, it's fairly easy to do. On the notes for one of my slides, I actually have some other ones listed. So it could be leaf sweeping. I don't know how you manage your leaf collection in a village. It could be green infrastructure practices. Just different types of detention.
Because we don't have a lot of land. I mean, we're
right.
built out, so we don't have,
Some of it's outreach and education to the community. So we teach people about what individuals can do. So, if it's bacteria, sometimes that's related to pets, dog poop. Sometimes it's related to seagulls. Sometimes it's related to dumpsters. So dumpsters are located in places where birds and animals get that stuff and they drag it out, or it rains and then the dumpsters leak. So there's lots of different BMPs.
Going off of what Trustee Armenta had said, we did get a recommended BMP from our engineers when we were doing the Wilson Drive project. And that's the beach which she's referring to. It's the most land that we have. And they alluded to mostly during committee meetings when we were having discussions, but that similar to what you're saying, the only solution that really we had available to really reduce those TMB, whatever these are, sorry, all the acronyms, was to do with this river, kind of like a stream.
Was a re-meander? Was that
yeah, bioswale.
Oh yes, okay, bioswale. Okay.
So we chose to defer that as a board to a later date. We might have to redo the road, to tear it up if that's the solution. But when was this you know, since when has the village or municipalities, this area, known that we were gonna have to address this in the plan coming up next month or soon?
So I wouldn't say that you have to, the stormwater management plans are a 5-year cycle as well. So you have to have a stormwater management plan every 5-year cycle. And again, it's not like, oh, you gotta dig up that road tomorrow to get compliance in this permit cycle. And I've also found that different engineering firms, depending on, it's all about people, right? Some engineering firms are just used to more traditional methods, and there's a lot of reluctance to do different things. Others are look wider or have more experience with maybe newer practices. But you just have to decide as a community for a small budget, like first and foremost, where you can afford to do these things, and where the biggest bang for the buck is, and then look, for where some of these, look upstream and work with your upstream neighbors as well, because if you can pool together funds to do a project that's going to benefit you all, and I'm just going to say, you put in 10,000 and they put in 20 because it's in their neighborhood, it might be worth you putting in 10 and having 30 to do a project, even though because it's eventually going to run downstream and affect you. So yeah, go
I
ahead.
don't think that there is if I'm understanding your question correctly, I can't give you a specific date. I would say this has been on the horizon for a number of years. But as Linda alluded to earlier, it's just kind of been hanging out there. There haven't really been any direction or decision, so what I have been trying to do is position this so that when we think we're close to some real answers, that's when we wanted to kick off the stormwater management plan, because then we're planning to a goal, where for the last 5 years, we haven't had a goal.
Yes. It's been a huge frustration for municipalities that this TMDL was like over 5 years in the making, and it should have been done a long time ago.
Thank you. I think that answers, so we haven't had, and I'm sorry, I'm the newest member on the
No,
board
it's
here,
fine.
but we haven't had a stormwater management plan. I know that the consultants had said to us during that road project a certain number, so we kind of have an idea of a number that we want to reduce to get to a level that's acceptable, but we haven't done a stormwater management plan to date, is what I'm hearing, correct?
We have, in a technical sense, you could consider the 2011 facilities plan a stormwater management plan. Prior to that, though, it had been some time before we had the late 90s was the last time prior to that we had a stormwater management plan that was really addressing, I'm going to say, stormwater quality issues. The facility plan was more of a quantity.
Flooding is the background.
So this is really our first, just so I'm clear on where we're going, it's really the first time since the 90s, it sounds like, that we're really looking at the quality or planning for in a document the quality and alternatives to how to improve the quality of our water.
A lot of communities were waiting for the TMDLs because it didn't make sense to get out ahead of that until you knew what your target was. Well, almost. So it's still at EPA. I don't think much is going to change. But you don't have the final yet. So we have to have a game actually.
There are some North Shore communities that drafted a plan a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
But they will most likely have to redraft that plan in the very near future because they were guessing at targets.
Right.
And those targets, I know in some cases, aren't really in the range of what they were guessing.
But they were talking about, so my first question was, have we talked to DNR about different alternatives that we can use? I'm assuming that these plans, even if the targets change the number, they have some alternatives that we're thinking about. We've had that discussion, will this be our first, as a board and as a community, our first talk about alternatives and ways to improve our water quality?
That's the purpose of the plan.
Okay, thank you.
But I will say that the North Shore Project Group has definitely talked about waves
We talk about it
all the time. Yeah, they talk about it.
And I think to be clear, there have been, it's not as if stormwater and water quality has not been contemplated and incorporated in these previous infrastructure.
Right. We've made it, we made an attempt to do some sort of BMP in every road project or infrastructure project that we've done in the last 10 years. Sometimes they're not enormously impactful, but there is something in each one.
I'm thinking of, when it was a DOT project, but it was also a lot of community input for Capital Drive. There were significant changes to the design to incorporate water quality issues.
Right, the biofiltration structures on Capital
Excuse me,
Drive.
I'm sorry, can we hang on? I know there's a lot of action, but it's hard to hear for discussions if we're all talking.
So the incorporation of biofiltration structures on Capitol Drive, or exactly for this.
Including the accounts for many things have happened in this village, including the past partners for the rain gardens and the downspout disconnect with the rain gardens, the education program, changing the policies regarding inspecting of those, and also as I was trying to say earlier, trustee Zurich was part of the high school redevelopment of the parking lot to include the bioswales and all of this stuff. So I appreciate this, it's great. And yeah, there have been the conservation committee as well. We had many discussions and influence policy in the village and some of the procedures based on that. So I'm very happy this is very comprehensive. And I do want to, we have a meeting for 15, but we really want to be in a pack house.
Request, I want to do it to agenda items, so I can do it here. We did have a conversation about our snow storage policy or practice, I should say, we don't policy, but practice that some felt maybe contributing to some gluten level in the river. And we didn't get our follow-up yet. I know, Tyler, we were going to work with the Conservation Committee on that spreadsheet of the alternatives and options for us to modify our practice, and I don't.
I have that in the queue line for them, probably starting in April or so. Which is with all the other things going on, we're going to take care of it first, but DPW had provided kind of a summary sheet of some of the options. We're going to be finalizing some stuff with them, and then we'll be taking this to conservation committee starting probably April to start.
Okay, it was definitely a priority of the residents, and so I didn't know that it had been deprioritized, but if we can have some kind of discussion that can modify practice by next winter, that's fine.
Oh, please don't say deprioritize. It's the fact that it's an issue that doesn't need to be resolved until next winter, so I'm trying to get more time-sensitive things resolved before we bring up that discussion.
Yeah, I thought that was a commitment on the board, so let the staff address that and come back to us. I didn't feel like we should prioritize anything.
Yeah, we just wanted the Conservation Committee to weigh in and see if they have a recommendation before bringing it back to the board.
I think it's a somewhat complex issue and involves certain alternatives and evaluating many different alternatives. I mean, I think it's, we spent 9 months looking at beekeeping. I mean, I think snow storage will, I would not be surprised if it takes us a year and a half to figure out snow storage. So I guess I'm also a little concerned that the kids getting pushed away just because I think it's a complex issue that has all kinds of ramifications in many different directions. I don't want to minimize how much time I think conservation might need to look at and for us to come up with some solutions.
Maybe this is a question for Leanne when we get to the point where we're hiring someone for our stormwater management plan. But we were talking here about TMDLs and the pollutants that we're concerned about. The TMDLs are TSS, total phos, and bacteria. Road salt is chlorides. My question is, the stormwater management plan is not simply about the 3 pollutants of which we have TMDLs, but it's for all pollutants.
Yes, I mean, certainly a focus.
But by multiples, I mean including chlorides,
Right.
salt.
The main focus of the plan was the addressing of the TMDL issue. And that was, I think, looked upon favorably in the grant process from DNR. So in part, that was purposeful, that we made that a very large focus of the plan. But certainly those are not the only impacts of stormwater. And we don't want to look at that to the detriment of some of the other components. So it will certainly be a wide-ranging.
The other thing I wanted to mention really quick was some of the solutions might not necessarily be shovel and dirt solutions. They could be, and I noticed in the RFP, you talk about code changes. And sometimes, right, important solutions are just their code changes. And so, which sometimes are less expensive than shovel and dirt projects, not always.
Do we have a link to this presentation, Rebecca? Because there was a lot of good information that I'd like to.
I think what I'd suggest is that we actually include it on the website and do an introduction to where we're starting, because it is a new cannabis type, and then we can all have it